I'm going to say one thing. Fuck Trump.
Trump does not understand anything about humanity, people. He has no empathy. I don't know what he is, but he's an alien, and he wants to hurt this country. It's something deeply psychological in him. He wants to hurt people. He wants to hurt this country. He doesn't care. And what saddens me the most, upsets me the most, is that people follow him.
Donald Trump is having an awful Monday morning as his effort to launch a criminal investigation into the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, who he appointed, is backfiring in his face. We're now hearing from Republicans who are demanding an investigation not into Powell, but into Trump's DOJ for its weaponization. Republicans demanding a criminal investigation into the DOJ for criminally investigating Jerome Powell. But Donald Trump's been on a rampage all morning. He's making posts like this. I'm the one who saved NATO. President DJT now.
Hollywood's greatest living actor systematically dismantled Donald Trump's public image, and Trump's unhinged reactions ended up proving every word true. Robert De Niro, a two-time Oscar winner known for portraying some of cinema's most complex characters, has spent decades studying bad men for his roles. His assessment of Trump was direct: not a bad man, but an evil one. Over the years, De Niro used speeches, press conferences, and international film festivals to call Trump out publicly.
I just don't know. It's all an act in a certain way. It's all out of insecurity. He's deeply, deeply insecure. He is a malignant narcissist. He's a socio-psychopath. He's created some new language as far as describing somebody in his mental condition. It's so frightening and scary, and he's dangerous. We got to get rid of him.
Do you ever?
And shame on those Republicans.
As Donald Trump threatens to invade Greenland, which has caused NATO nations to respond by potentially putting forces in Greenland to protect against a United States invasion, as Donald Trump has done more to break up the NATO alliance than in history. Donald Trump is saying that he saved NATO. Then Donald Trump is getting some instant rebuking to his face from his post that he is now the acting president of Venezuela. You have Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar said, so Trump is posting about being the acting president of Venezuela when he's not even acting like a president.
Each time, De Niro delivered sharp, experience-backed critiques drawn from decades of observing Trump as a fellow New Yorker. And each time, Trump responded with late-night Truth Social meltdowns that validated the criticism. This section documents De Niro's most powerful public exposés and Trump's pathetic reactions, revealing why an 82-year-old actor clearly terrifies a former president.
The guy is a total monster. And anybody, I don't understand it. I guess they get behind that kind of logic. They want to fuck with people, screw them, because they're unhappy about something. He's such a mean, nasty, hateful person. I never play him as an actor because I can't see any good in him. Nothing at all. Nothing redeemable in him.
That's for sure. Now, the former chair members of the Federal Reserve and former Treasury secretaries put out the following statement. Former Fed chairs and Treasury secretaries put out a statement on Monday defending Jerome Powell after the Justice Department opened up this criminal investigation into Powell. So you have everybody from Ben Bernanke, who served 2 terms as chair of the Fed, Jared Bernstein, chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under Biden, Jason Furman, chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under Obama, Timothy Geithner, Geithner, who served as the 75th Secretary of the Treasury under Obama, as well as the President and Chief Executive Officer.
On May 28, 2024, during Trump's hush money trial, the Biden campaign held a surprise press conference outside Manhattan Criminal Court. De Niro appeared alongside Capitol Police officers Harry Dunn and Michael Fanone, who defended democracy on January 6th. De Niro spoke passionately about loving New York City and warned that Trump wanted to destroy not just the city, but the country and potentially the world.
A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city, it's part of the culture. But not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that.
Of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, Alan Greenspan, Glenn Hubbard, Jacob Lew, Henry Paulson, who's Bush's guy. So you keep going down the list of all of them. Republican, Democratic leaders in this area. Here's the statement that they put out. The Federal Reserve's independence and the public's perception of that independence are critical for economic performance, including achieving the goals Congress has set for the Federal Reserve of stable prices, maximum employment, and moderate long-term interest rates. The reported criminal inquiry into Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell is an unprecedented attempt to use prosecutorial attacks to undermine the independence. This is how monetary policy is made in emerging markets with weak institutions, with highly negative consequences for inflation and the functioning of their economies more broadly.
De Niro reminded the crowd that New Yorkers once tolerated Trump as a grubby real estate hustler pretending to be important. When Trump ran in 2016, many treated it like a joke. History, De Niro warned, shows how clowns become vicious dictators when ignored. He said Trump now openly promises to use the U.S. military against American citizens and meant every word.
Truth Social, Robert De Niro, whose acting talents have greatly diminished with his reputation now shot, must even use a teleprompter for his foul and disgusting language. So disrespectful to our country. Now, in all fairness to the former president, is that true? Do you have to use a teleprompter when speaking about President Trump? Or are you able to just kind of riff on your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's so stupid.
It has no place in the United States, whose greatest strength is the rule of law, which is at the foundation of our economic success. An unprecedented statement from Democratic and Republican Fed chairs and Treasury secretaries putting that out moments ago. As I mentioned yesterday, Republican Senator Tom Tillis said that it requires that there's now an investigation needed of the Department of Justice, that its independence and credibility are in question. Of course it is. This regime has been engaged in the most horrific criminal conduct that there is. The DOJ is covering up a child sex trafficking ring. And Tom Tillis said that he's holding up Donald Trump's nominees, both in the Department of Homeland Security, because Kristi Noem refuses to show up before Congress, but also now he's saying that he will put a hold on anyone Donald Trump wants to appoint to the Fed.
Trump responded at 12:46 a.m. on Truth Social, attacking De Niro's intelligence, height, and career. He accused De Niro of Trump derangement syndrome, claimed his career was declining, and suggested he was paid by Joe Biden. The response avoided every real accusation and focused only on insults.
We have both been immortalized on social media by our former president, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We have, I think this might have been the first time he wrote about you. Robert De Niro, a very low IQ individual, has received he spelled two wrong, many shots to the head by real boxers in movies. I watched him last night, truly believe he may be punch drunk, and then he says, at the end, he says, "Wake up, punchy," he says to you.
whether it's the Fed chair vacancy or any other Fed position. And he's on the banking committee in the Senate. He says until this matter is legally resolved. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski just put out the following statement. After speaking with Chair Powell this morning, it's clear the administration's investigation is nothing more than an attempt at coercion. If the Department of Justice believes an investigation into Chair Powell is warranted based on project cost overruns, which are not unusual, then Congress needs to investigate the Department of Justice. The stakes are too high to look the other way. If the Federal Reserve loses its independence, the stability of our markets and the broader economy will suffer. My colleague, Senator Tillis, is right in blocking any Federal Reserve nominee until this is resolved. So what are other MAGA Republicans saying? Well, MAGA Republican Senator Roger Marshall says, I don't think Donald Trump was being serious about this criminal investigation into Powell. This morning, Roger Marshall says, I just think this is the way Donald Trump trolls. It's like a trolling thing. You know, he's a troll. And so he's trolling by demanding that the DOJ launch a criminal investigation into Powell.
The Midnight Post showed Trump couldn't sleep. De Niro's words haunted him. Trump mocked De Niro's career despite De Niro receiving another Oscar nomination months earlier. Trump claimed De Niro was paid even though he spoke voluntarily. An 80-year-old actor was living rent-free in Trump's mind.
What we have here is a denial of truth all over the place. And even the speech that he made after is insane. It's just insane, and I'm very, very concerned about it. I think we all are. It's insane. So that's why I felt I had to do something, say something about it, to go on record.
And the DOJ is now opened up a grand jury criminal investigation into Powell. You know, trolling. Here, play this clip.
Is there really a reason for an investigation? Because, you know, a lot of people are looking at this and saying, well, wait a second. We know President Trump does not like Jay Powell, and we know that he's calling him stupid and that he hasn't cut rates fast enough. So is this political, or did Jay Powell break the law and mislead or lie to the Senate Banking Committee? And you say?
Well, Maria, we'll let the system play through here. I think there's other issues that we should be focused on. I think this is the president throwing out one more, maybe he's even almost trolling here as well. We got bigger issues to go after than this one now.
Then you have Kevin Hassett, Donald Trump's national economic advisor, who many believe Donald Trump wants to appoint as the chair of the Federal Reserve. This guy's appointment would be disastrous. He's been wrong about like everything his entire career. And he goes, well, if someone launched a criminal investigation.
On December 4th, 2023, while presenting an award at the Gotham Awards, De Niro realized his prepared remarks had been censored. Trump criticism was removed from the teleprompter. De Niro pulled out his phone and read the censored lines aloud, exposing censorship live on stage and calling out Trump's history of lying, cruelty, and manipulation of truth.
That don't have the nerve, the balls to go after him. What do they tell their kids? What do they tell their grandkids later when it's written in history books what their role is and what they did, and they allowed him to do this. He's an outright criminal, and they're still buying it.
If someone launched a criminal investigation of me, I wouldn't be worried. I would just say, okay, here are the documents. I have nothing to hide. So why is everybody worried that he's doing a criminal investigation into the chairman of the Federal Reserve? Play this clip.
I think that if you're sitting here in the White House and somebody says, hey, Justice Department wants to look at all your emails or look at what you've been doing on this or that, then I would welcome the opportunity to show them that I'm fine. And I also think that that's what I would expect of every government employee. That you want government employees to sort of say, hey, yeah, here's my proof. That there's been nothing like the Minnesota thing going on.
De Niro stood his ground at 80 years old, confronting angry crowds face to face. Trump, in contrast, hides behind Secret Service, demands loyalty, and launches late-night attacks from Mar-a-Lago. One showed real courage. The other only performs toughness.
Trump does not understand anything about humanity, people. He has no empathy. I don't know what he is, but he's an alien, and he wants to hurt this country. It's something deeply psychological in him. He wants to hurt people. He wants to hurt this country. He doesn't care. And what saddens me the most, upsets me the most, is that people follow him and they think and they kiss his ass and they look up to him. And I don't understand it. I don't understand the people in his cabinet, some of them, Rubio, how they can live with themselves after what they've allowed him to do and not stood up. Even walk out of the room when what they did with Zelensky the first time. Rubio, looking at his face, they got the camera on him. If he had balls, he would have walked out.
It was Joe Biden and Jay Powell that let the inflation genie out of the bottle. And so, and it spared me this Fed independence stuff, and Tom tell us all that. Come on.
Yeah.
That's a politicized body. And he's the worst chairman since Arthur Burns started running the money pump for Richard Nixon for re-election. So let's get to the bottom of this. But there's a lot of good stuff going on with President Trump.
I also saw other MAGA Republican Congress members and senators on the morning shows, as this morning, trying to defend Trump regime's killing of Renee Nicole Good and the atrocities being committed by Trump's ICE and Border Patrol, Gestapo, Donald Trump's paramilitary forces. So now what Trump's MAGA sycophants, this is so disgusting, what they're going on the morning shows and saying, you know what really needs to happen?
Across courthouses, award shows, film festivals, interviews, and live events, De Niro spoke documented truth. Each time, Trump responded with personal insults and emotional outbursts, never addressing the actual claims. The pattern reveals everything.
Look at the lame, inane things that he said. He's so stupid, he can't even say anything clever or smooth. He's a moron. But he's a scary one. And in all seriousness, and we know it here, people have to get out and vote and vote and vote and vote.
Yeah, one time each. Do you think he pretends to be dumber than he is to confuse people and make them think? No, you think he's
A Democratic Senator Warner on CNBC, and here's how he talks about the lack of training of these ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo. And he's speaking to the CNBC guy who's like the top MAGA, one of the main MAGA hosts on CNBC. Play this clip.
But the idea that we're going to send in these ICE agents, by the way, Joe, do you realize ICE used to take 5 to 6 months to get trained? They've now lowered the training period to 47 days. Why 47 days? Because Donald Trump's the 47th president. Tell me that's a rational approach.
I'm not obviously I'm not going to take that bait and say it's a rational approach, but
Joe, you can't pick your facts.
More from Senator Warner here about Trump's never-ending wars and the fact that Trump just, without congressional authorization, Trump has actually engaged in multiple military attacks over the past year.
When an 82-year-old actor triggers repeated meltdowns from a former president, it's because the actor speaks truth the president cannot refute. De Niro's warnings about Trump's authoritarian nature, danger, and insecurity stand as one of the strongest examples of using fame to defend democracy. The documented record matters.